Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making an easy, delicious bread pudding. So let's get started. Start off by preheating your oven to 350. You'll want to grab an 8x8 inch casserole dish. And now we have to deal with the bread. You have a choice here. You could use any rich bread to make this delicious. Any bread will work, but you want a rich one like brioche or challah. Specifically 6 cups. I'm gonna cut this into 2-inch pieces. Bread pudding is something that my mom used to make all the time because when you have a family of boys, you have a lot of stale bread hanging around because someone opens up a loaf and then leaves it and opens up a new one. But the nice thing is you can use stale bread to make bread pudding. You can also go to the market and just like kind of get the day-old bread or the bread that's on sale. If you only have fresh bread, that's totally fine. You can let it sit out for a while just to dry or pop it into the oven on a baking sheet after cutting it. 250 for 10 minutes will do. Using a rich bread like challah or brioche will give you just more flavor and richness. It's like you're starting off with delicious things and making them even better. I will say, however, that when we wanted bread pudding, if we didn't have a rich bread, we used anything. So oftentimes we even had sourdough, and I grew up like enjoying the flavor of like the sour bread with the sweet sauce, but that might just be me. You can let me know in the comments if that's weird. Measure that out. You want about 6 cups, and if you have any extra bread left over, I would just toss this with some butter or oil and make delicious croutons. Set that aside. Once your bread's all cut up, just butter an 8x8 inch dish. Bread pudding is such a delicious and easy dessert, but oftentimes we would have it for breakfast too, like little scrambled eggs, little bread pudding. It's like a weekend treat, because it does give French toast vibes, really. Right. Transfer your bread. Just arranging it into a more even layer. I also like to have a little bit of the crust facing up so it looks kind of pretty when it's presented. And by the way, if you like my videos, hit that subscribe button. There's 2 new delicious recipes every single week. Once your bread's prepped out, we're gonna make the easy custard, just like in French toast, that this soaks in. 2 cups of whole milk, half a cup or 100 grams of sugar, granulated, please. 3 tablespoons of butter, half a teaspoon of salt for some contrast, and for a little extra flavor, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. You could also add a pinch of other spices you like cardamom, allspice, nutmeg, whatever you want. We're gonna take this onto the cooktop, medium heat, and stir occasionally. You just wanna stir this over medium heat until the butter is all nice and melted and that milk's been warmed up. This recipe comes from Europe in the 11th and 12th century. It's originally a way to use old bread and repurpose it into something delicious. It was known as I think poor man's pudding or something like that, but this is a much fancier, richer, decadent version that's still very easy. You could think of this recipe as a blank canvas. It is delicious with just a nice bread and the vanilla sauce that you pour over it, but there are so many things you can add to it. Oftentimes I'll add toasted pecans here. My kids love chocolate chips. You could add dried fruits. You could add toasted coconut. There are so many flavors you could incorporate really easily into here. Once your butter's all melted, we're gonna set this aside, off heat, and let it cool down slightly for about 10 minutes. Once your milk mixture is cooled down for 10 minutes, we can add the eggs in. I didn't want to add them in right away because they could have scrambled and that would be gross. Cracking them into a small bowl so I can make sure there's no shells, which I would not be able to find in the milk. Just whisk them in one at a time. 2. And 3. For some added flavor, of course, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of vanilla. If you wanted to, by the way, you could sub this in for bourbon or dark rum. Also delicious. That smells really nice. Now we're gonna pour this over the bread. Just make sure there's no dry pieces on the top. Pour away. All right, nicely soaked in. We should give this about 20 minutes so all that delicious liquid can really penetrate the bread. That way it'll be super moist. Set this aside for 20 minutes, and by the way, you could prep this pretty far in advance and just keep it in the fridge before baking. That way, it'll be nicely soaked and ready to go, so you can have a really good dessert fresh out of the oven with no prep work while you have people over. After about 20 minutes, my bread pudding is ready to go into the oven, 350 for 40 to 45 minutes, or until the top is nicely golden and a knife inserted in the center comes out clean. In the meantime, we're gonna make an amazing sauce to pour over this. In you go. This bread pudding's delicious, but adding a vanilla pouring custard takes it over the top, and it's really easy. In the medium saucepan, we're gonna combine 1 cup of whole milk, 1 cup of cream, and yes, you could use 2 cups of half and half if you have that on hand, and 2 tablespoons of butter. And to sweeten things up, 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, that's 110 grams. If you're using a measuring cup, pack it in. It's time to take this over, back to the stove, medium heat, and we're gonna stir occasionally. Grab a whisk. While that heats up, I'm gonna make a cornstarch slurry. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Oh my God, just, I could feel it through the tablespoon. And 1/4 cup of liquid. You could use water if you just like a plain vanilla custard, or you could use bourbon or rum, which are fairly traditional, or even brandy, for a boozy kick. Most of the alcohol will get cooked off though. Well, all right. Add that in and give it a mix so it creates a slurry. This will help our pouring custard set a little bit better. Give it a more thick, luscious texture. The bourbon smells so good in this, so paired with the vanilla, it's gonna be amazing. This sauce is like an easier version of a creme anglaise. A creme anglaise isn't that hard, but this is like so simple to make. We're replacing the egg yolks here with the cornstarch. It'll just give us that nice, thicker texture. Okay, my butter's melted. I'm just waiting for this to start steaming, and then I can add in my cornstarch mixture. My milk mixture is steaming, so let's add the cornstarch in. Just whisk it in. Just stir until this is thickened up noticeably. It happens pretty quickly. And I'm reducing the temperature because my oven has a very hot burner on it. Okay. This looks lovely. It's all done. Take it off heat, and you can see the texture is nice and thickened up. Once you've removed from heat, we can flavor this with a tablespoon of vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste. They taste basically the same, but the paste has these beautiful little speckles. You can also add in a pinch of salt if desired at this point. Nicely mixed. This smells amazing. Set this aside, and it's ready to use once our bread pudding comes out of the oven. Once out of the oven, spoon this delicious sauce onto your warm bread pudding, and you could, of course, reserve some of the sauce to spoon on with each serving. This smells amazing. Plate your bread pudding, add some extra sauce, or serve with ice cream, and just like that, it's ready to enjoy. Soft, perfectly sweet, so satisfying, and beyond delicious. I love the notes of vanilla throughout. I hope you get a chance to make this easy, delicious recipe, and if you like my videos, hit that subscribe button and check out my easy dessert playlist.